What's up, guys? I'm so excited to be here, and I'm Stacy Ike. I'm so excited to talk to the brilliance behind this project. So with no further ado, Miss Danielle Moné Truitt. Hello. Hey. The actress behind it all, the braids and the bombness. It's always the braids. The executive producer, Mr. John Singleton. And as well, the showrunner, Mr. Huggins. Yes. So wait, now that is this the first time you guys just saw the season finale too? Yeah, we did miss a moment. Yeah? How do you feel?
I feel about what I just saw. Oh, I feel great. I think I'm like very proud of our show and of the episode. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
To the mic.
Jesse's making sure we're ready to go.
I'm used to the theater. No, I'm very proud of our show in general. Super excited about this episode and people seeing it, and just in awe of my castmates because I think that they're phenomenal and doing, a great job. I don't know if you guys seen the episode yesterday. I hope you did. But I sent them all a text and I was like, do you guys realize this episode didn't have any veterans in it? There was no Giancarlo Esposito. There was no Mykelti. There was no Method Man. It was just us, new faces. And we held down a whole episode by ourselves, and it was awesome. So I feel really, really great and confident about it.
John, how are you feeling about this finale?
I feel so honored and blessed. First to work with this lady over the last year. Give it up. Give it up. The beautiful thing the goals that we set with this show last year was we wanted to have a sister on TV who wasn't one note. It's either they're they're just one note. I want to go there, right? Just one note. And what she does on the show is so phenomenal because, she is a fully formed character. She's you can almost touch her. And the beautiful thing that we've seen in this season is the responses from a lot of people who was I know that girl. I know that woman. That woman is me, some people will say. And that, for me, that warms my heart. So I just say, I'm just happy and, how I feel about you, It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And a lot of that, those words and everything in this episode and a lot of other stuff and everything in it is different episodes go to this man right here, Mr. Randy Huggins. Give it up to him.
Mr. Randy, how do you feel about the finale?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How are you feeling about the finale?
Oh, fantastic. I've seen it about 30 times. It's I can probably tell you the lines. But I really feel great about this whole show and this experience. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of John. So when he called me and told me he wanted me to do the show, I was like, for real?
Those of you don't know, this man comes from power.
Yes. Yeah. So, when John called and told me he wanted me to do the show, I was thrilled. And then when I came aboard and saw the material and met Danielle, a lot of times I feel like I'm trying to write words to keep up with her performance. You know what I mean? And then the performance of, Mykelti, Giancarlo. And it's not all me. It's a total team. My entire writing staff contributes. And then it's a very collaborative process with our network, with the pod, and then with the actors, and then John, you know what I mean? So it's a total team effort, and watching that.
Some of that Oakland speak in this.
Yeah.
I said, the last note I gave him was we got to get some more Oakland speak. And then when she said, this is hell of I was in the back okay, you got this.
Exactly.
I don't know if anybody felt the same way, but I remember watching the first episode, and what's crazy is when I met Danielle, I ran. Did not know her, and I just start screaming in her face, thanks for being nice about that. And I'm just you're so beautiful. Who are you? Tell me everything about you. And she's like, hi. And she tells me about the show. So I'm like, all right, I have to watch. I have to stay tuned. I got to support. And I'm surprised I made it past the first 20 minutes because when Malik died, I was done with you. I was done with you. I was done with you. I didn't want I didn't know what you were going to go through as a character. And just like you guys have said, she's so full formed and she's gone through so much in 10 episodes, and we've gotten to see like how much, you know, you contribute. So to ask all of you, how did Rebel start from maybe the first table read to this episode? Is she the same girl? Do we think, were there so many conversations, did she change as a character? And how did that affect all of you?
I mean, in my opinion, I'm not in the writer's room, but I did go to the writer's room and spent a day with them, and that was really awesome. They asked me a lot about myself. One of the things John wanted from jump, he was like, I want the character to be seminal with you as much as possible, you know, so that she comes off real, you know, and not a caricature. Hi, Sheree. Sorry. Seeing people I know. Hey, girl. Oh, dang. Now I'm seeing a whole bunch of people I know. Hey. So, I mean, that was one thing. They wanted her to, you know, be a real person. And when you see a black woman with natural hair walking down the street with a huge gun, you know, you're like, where is that happening at? Like, you know, like, where is she at?
Without any
you know?
backup. I'm like,
okay. Right. But I think in the way the world is right now and the things that we're experiencing, like we needed a character like this. Black women, I believe, needed a character like this. Women in general, and the communities that a lot of us come from, you know, we needed to see like a hood superhero or a urban superhero, somebody that's an everyday person but doing extraordinary things in her own way. And I think the writers, along with John and the other directors and the actors, I think we all came together to help the character continue to develop, or for her journey, you know, to fully develop. In the pilot, where it's a whole bunch of information coming at you at one time in those 2 hours, and then throughout the series, you get the awesome opportunity to just slowly kind of peel, you know, back the layers and let people see, like, why is she angry? Why does she operate, you know, these ways? And, you know, I think the writers did an excellent job. Every time I would get a new script, I would just be, you know, so excited, you know, to see more of her story unfold. So,
yeah. And what about for you, John? I mean, this is what not the first, but since Poetic Justice, I haven't seen a strong female character that's like this girl. So what was your intention with creating a rebel in her world?
Well, I mean, I grew up on movies in the 70s and stuff, and Cleopatra Jones and all the films that Pam Grier was in and stuff. And I just realized, I woke up one day and I realized, I started looking, I said, we don't have any black female empowered heroes on any medium, in television or on film. You know, all the sisters are really marginalized in every medium. And, you know, the last 3 or 4 years and all this stuff is happening with it's not the last 3 or 4 years. It's been happening for 200 fucking years in this fucking country. But I'm just saying, but, you know, just the whole public lynching at the hands of the state of black men, young black men in the police force. It was just a time. It's just like, God, this has to be addressed in a way that is kind of like pop culture, but not pithy, and at the same time wouldn't be didactic. Something that people can really get into, that they can really feel some type of cultural resonance and a catharsis watching the adventures of a hero, black female hero, and feel something. And so that's what when we talked about when we were going into this. Like, we need to have something on television that people can watch, that our folks first and foremost can watch and be like, oh my God, thank God. You know what I mean? Like, there's somebody that looks like me, that talks like me, that acts like me, or somebody that I know that I can identify with, who has gone through a bit of our own personal struggle. And so that's what we were really going for with this character.
Now, Randy, there is, yeah, that's a clap. Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Nice. Being the showrunner and having a show that does have so many intense themes behind it. if you keep it that simple, what are the conversations like with the actors, with the with everybody?
Writers room first.
Yeah, like let's
Writer
start there
room.
and go all
Start
the way
in the
back.
writers room
What are
first.
we? How do we prep to have these conversations and to bring it so much truth?
Well, first of all, I grew up in rooms where, putting together a room in itself is like putting together a mix of gumbo. You can't have all onions. You can't have all sausage. You can't have all green peppers. You got to have a little bit of everything. And
Everybody shouldn't think alike. Yeah.
Exactly. And when you stir it up, you get something great. And I think you just have to be open enough to embrace people challenging your thought process. Because I don't know everything. You know what I mean? Like, I've had so many stories that I thought, okay, I'm going to tell you the story that Danielle vetoed. I had a story coming out of the pilot, and I was like, you know what? I think y'all saw the finale, so I can say this. I'm like, you know what? I think you're going to have an affair. You're going to have an affair with Jimmy, Mack's brother. And she was like, oh, hell no. And I'm like, nobody's going to see it coming. And she was like, not even me.
I remember that day.
I sold everybody on it, and then she came and she was like, nah, that doesn't
Really
make sense.
I went in the corner and I cradled myself in the corner, and I was like, don't do this to me. Like, don't do it to Rebel.
You got to throw out those ideas. You got to throw out just the wildest things, and then somehow something's going to stick. Yeah. Huh?
Absolutely.
What? You know?
You have a great imagination, bruh.
But no. But the answer is no. And so you're saying that even within, if we continue with the conversations, Rebel, you have two sons. Rebel, I love her character. Danielle, you have two sons. And, you're a mom. And you're playing such a strong woman who isn't necessarily married or has kids, but you have such a dynamic storyline that is circled around police brutality, that kind of thing. What are the conversations like at home?
Well, my sons are 2 and 6, so I'm not having those
Not
deep
yet.
conversations with them. My son does want to be a police officer, but I think he wants to be an actor is what I think. Mommy is playing a police officer, and so now he's like, I want to be a police officer, But even if he did, I think it would be great, But I think playing this part, first of all, this whole that whole dynamic, the whole thing with our black men and women, dying at the hands of police is something that I'm very passionate about. Period. Before Rebel ever even came, before I ever got an email about, hey, audition for this role, like it was something that I was already passionate about, and in my own way was trying to bring light to and bring the community together to talk about, what is happening, in the world. And so it's not just a hashtag that, when, somebody else died, so now let's do hashtag Alton Sterling. And then 2 weeks later, we're on, to whatever, something else, and it's like these people's lives are being taken and we need to figure something out, and then all of a sudden I'm given an audition notice to play, a female cop from Oakland. I'm from Sacramento. That's brown skin with natural hair, and her brother is murdered by the cops. And I'm like, what is happening to my life? Like, I'm like, wait a minute, that's me, And so I just think that the way God moves in our lives is very awesome, and you just never know, how things are going to come together in your life. So this project, yes, it's my first thing, so it's special anyway, but it's actually like a heart's passion of mine. So shooting a lot of these scenes were like, it meant a lot to me. The scene where Malik dies, like, it wasn't just, oh, I'm supposed to cry because my brother got killed by the police. It was like, no, this is happening every day. This is happening all the time. There are families out there that are grieving at this moment while we're actually shooting this scene. In episode 3, when Rebel goes to the ME and she's showing her, pictures of Malik with the bullet wounds, and Rebel's kind of having flashbacks. We were just doing a rehearsal of it, and I just broke down crying because I was like, this, I'm a sensitive soul, but it's just something that's really happening in real life.
I feel like playing a police officer, because I think this is so important. How complicated the characters are, and the decisions that characters have to make as police officers. All of the characters, and so maybe this is for all of you. Has it changed or edited or adjusted the way you see the police system overall?
I have much more compassion for the police now. I didn't have none at first.
You made
And I know some
decisions.
police officers. I know some cops, black men, and I would have conversations with them like, what, like, you can't shoot somebody in the leg. You gotta just blow them away. Like, I don't understand, But through doing this show, I definitely have a lot more compassion for the police. And even through my church, we actually would go to police stations and pray for the police officers. Because there's just a lot of fear in the world, and there's fear on the community side, and then there's fear in the police department as well with those people. I just feel like everybody need prayer. So, I have a lot more compassion for police officers now. It is hard, for them.
John, Randy, any difference? Do you see the police department?
No,
any
this
different?
shouldn't change my thing about the police. I grew up Vermont 101st, so I mean, it's just
Of course not.
regionally, I guess it all depends on the personnel working in the service of the community. It does, and that's not me soft-pedaling at all. I mean, I just feel like that there is a whole thing in terms of this country that has historically been in the service of black people, and the police are an adjunct of that. You know what I mean? And so I wish we weren't taught to go to the police if we had a problem or even within our own neighborhood, whatever, somebody in the neighborhood, whatever, we couldn't live under the letter of the law because the law was against us. So we had to live under our own set of rules. It's funny because you asked me that question because in context of this, because I'm working on another project. I can't talk about that now, but it's a historical thing, and it's the same shit. It's like we live under the state, and we're trying to make way within the confines of a certain thing. I mean, we made this country. You know what I mean? Like, if people say, "Oh my God, it's so bad, why don't you fucking leave?" No, we made this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I stand on that we're really true Americans, and not that I'm saying that we're old a whole lot, but we have earned the right to be true Americans. But what frustrates me as an individual and as a person is that I don't feel that the state is serving that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear. And I think we got a little bit of that in the show without being didactic again, in the service of entertainment and everything and stuff. But no. So I answered your question long-winded, but the show didn't change the way I feel about the police. Every time I don't care if I'm in an Uber and the police go by, I get nervous and say, okay, is it? Whatever. Because where I'm from, I mean, I've seen everything from my first movie on. I mean, I've seen kids. I remember, a kid had a musket from Disneyland, and he was playing with it and everything. Like 10 years old, and he was not even pointing at the cops. And the cops rolled by, and the cop said, I could blow you away, for having that in your hand. And it was a cap gun. Remember the little caps? They had the roller caps in it. I may be dating myself, but boom, boom, boom. And he threatened us like he was going to shoot my homeboy. And the dude was, he wasn't a gangbanger or whatever. But that's the most benign thing that I've seen. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, so I'm kind of like still shell shock over all of those various experiences and everything and stuff with the LAPD in question and everything. So they've informed my opinion. How about you? You're from Detroit.
Randy, right? It's like, it's coming to you next, Randy. And in addition to that, are these stories integrated into the writer's room?
For sure.
Are these stories integrated into
Absolutely.
the writer's room for Andy?
I mean,
we get down in person. We be like, this thing.
100%. I try to get my writers to the stories that we come up with. I take them from personal experiences. You know what I mean? So you have to be an open book to be in my writer's room. But as far as the police, I tense up
when they house yesterday.
I tense up every time they show up as well. But I have a little bit of a different philosophy. And I grew up in an urban environment and experienced those same type of atrocities, because that's just what they are. But they're part of the community too. You know what I mean? So I have.
They're not from the community.
True, but I think my point of view would be they're good cops just like they're good people.
Absolutely.
And they're bad cops just like they're bad people. So for me to generalize the entire law enforcement, I mean, that just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So it's also that, and that's an interesting thing that we play in our show, the partnership between Mack and Rebel. You know what I mean? And we play with people's emotions because in the pilot, you see him do something and he's like, oh, no, he's terrible. I hate him. But then we were very diligent in building that relationship back up, I think. And
He whisked her away with that big old arm and the hair and the floor. I'm like, oh, so they friends now? Oh, okay. No, yeah, it worked. It worked. It worked. No, but I definitely see where those characters were going, and I do think that it is important, again, that each character has so many layers to them. And that's why you start fighting for ones that in the beginning you think you hate. And so I think that's really...
I love how she breaks the dude's neck, and then afterwards she's like, oh my God.
Like, but what?
Oh God, I can't believe I broke that motherfucker's
Take
neck.
me out.
Oh God.
I'm like,
My
no,
ribs
there's someone
hurt.
in there
And
that
then
can
you know
help
what?
her.
It's time because we got actors in the room. Because this is the first time I've seen this episode. She's in the hospital, Emeritus, and her breathing is labored. She got that because her rib was cracked. So she, you see like the little things. We go through this all the time. We talk about all the different levels a scene can go through and stuff and everything. But as actors, of course, depending on your training and everything, you got to think about that. You got to be in the moment, and find the different things that even we as the writer or the director are not even thinking about. We rely on you to give us that.
They didn't do a lot makeup wise, like for bruising and stuff like that. So I was like, well, that was a pretty intense fight,
Yeah.
So if it's not if it's not showing on the outside, then it needs to be happened on the inside, So that's what I was thinking. But the thing that it was time for him to go.
I said the same thing. I'm like, he's dead.
Time for him to go. First of all, it was just me and him there. With no way one of us was gonna go. Somebody had to go, and it wasn't gonna be me.
I need a season 2. John, you actually brought up a really great point about actors and making sure that we are in the moment, and there's a room full of actors here. So one thing somebody asked earlier that I thought was so great is that you are really known for discovering new talent. Like you're bomb, and I'm really glad we get to see that. And you have been I like you. Thank you. You know when it's time.
Yeah, we have a famous saying. She came in and everything and just did the lines and stuff. And I looked at her and I said, what I put it?
Oh, this is a moment. We get a special sneak peek.
Okay. I can't open my legs because I have a dress on. But this is John. We walk into the room. You audition. He's like back like this. When I get done, he goes, baby girl. Man, see, that's what I'm talking about. You funky. See, you got flavor. You a black woman. You a real sister. Hey, you see how different she was than that other girl that just came in here? That's what I want.
That's so much. Are you like, did I get the part or no?
And they looking at me like, I'm going to lunch. I'm going to get some sushi. I'm getting some sushi. No, we got to see all these people. I was like, man, I don't want to see these people. I found who I want.
I like the actors know, like, I'm very sensitive to the other people that I'm auditioning with. I hate when people come in and they're just like, oh, yeah.
Break a leg.
I mean, I couldn't believe what happened.
First of all, her hair was all over the place.
He said natural hair.
It was like, and it was like, no, yeah, because he's like, what'd you say? You said you decided to wear your hair natural just at the point.
A couple months before the Rebel audition, I would wear weaves when I, felt like it's a great protective style. So no shade to the weave. But I was like, you know what? I'm not wearing this weave no more. I'm tired of like wondering, should I have my hair natural for this commercial audition? Is that what they would like? Like maybe the natural hair thing is in right now, but dang, I have my weave in right now. Dang, you know, or maybe I'll take it out. I'm like, I ain't doing that. I'm doing me. So I'm gonna go into whatever audition it is, looking like Danielle. And if that ain't cool for you or what you casting, cool. You know, I just made that decision like a month or two before, and then all of a sudden I got this casting call, and I'm like, wait a minute.
And then she left the room, and I said, see, now that's what we need. We need the better looking version of Neffy as she became a police person.
You're so funny.
I want her to be kind of little bit sophisticated, a little bit ratchet, but like
Hood hero,
the
hood hero.
But
hero.
but smart. She was badass and bougie. You know what I mean? Like a little bit. She can be bougie when she wants to, but she can be badass with her. And that's what we was going for.
That whole thing rocked my world. So I walked out to go outside, and I just walked through the hall, and I was like, break a leg like I normally do to everybody. You know, it's like probably 15 girls out there, all gorgeous, all just great. I walked outside. I walked down the stairs. Outside, I got out and I went. I called my manager. I was like, Cheryl. She's like, what? What's wrong? And I was like, I killed my audition.
But you see, like everybody, pretty much predominantly in this cast are all new faces, and that's, we need y'all new blood. We need new faces, new blood. Different colors.
So what are you looking
flavors.
for in that?
We need that of various ages. If you look at it, and
But it started with Kim Harden. Just I want to say, she cast. I went in for her first, and she was when I walked in the room. She was like, "Have you been in for me before?" And I was like, "No, I think I've been in for your assistant once." And she was like, "Yes." And I was like, "What?" Like I was shocked. That never happens when you go in the room. They're like, "What's on your resume? Who are you?" Okay, go ahead. All right, thank you. She was very excited that I was somebody that she hadn't seen, which completely took all my anxiety, any nervous tension I had was out the door because I felt welcomed. I felt like she was happy that I was there, So shout out to Kim Harden. She's awesome.
And there's a room full of actors. John, you kind of mentioned. Oh, Randy, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I think that was John's vision for this whole project. I mean, I grew up on the Shield, the unit, Crash, Trauma, Power, all of that. But I never ran a show. And he said, I want a first-time showrunner who had a voice that nobody had heard. And then when we looked at directors, he was like, I don't want anybody who's done, I want fresh directors. So I think it's a testament to, again, my hero, my partner, my man right here. So
Amani Walker is the one who created Rebel. It's her first show getting picked up ever. My first show. Angela Coe, Chyna, first anything really on TV at all. A whole bunch of firsts for us. So.
John, with that, first of all, that is a huge testimony, and that's really inspirational, I would say, right? Yes? You feeling it? What are you looking for with New Blood? What should they be working on? What scripts what should we be studying over the weekend? Like, what do we, you know what I'm saying? This is serious. So, what do we need to be doing to make sure we're ready to get in the room?
Be yourself. Be the best version of yourself, and be a studied person. I mean, the greatest actors that I know are really confident in their abilities of who they are first as a people, but also their abilities also to take a scene and whatever we create and take the words and make them rise above what we think they are. You come in the room and you and you give us, I don't care if it's 2 sentences, it's like, oh my gosh, we want that aha experience when we see a new actor. We want to feel some energy coming off of them that is going to pervade the project or whatever thing that we're working on. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm like make me not look at my damn phone and my texts. You know what I mean? Like blow me away. But that doesn't, you don't even have to do that by being big. You do that by being, some of it is nonverbal. Some of it is what you do just before you say the lines. and some of it is right after you know, in the lines. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's you know, you know your vessel and what you have. Only you can decide that. You know.
And I feel like okay, the scene that you did, it was a couple episodes ago, and you were doing poetry. That's like you. That's Danielle. Bisa. Oh, I've heard stories. You bomb. But anyway, I was just wondering in general, because I know you sing too, and I don't know if
Rap.
You know, like there's a whole bunch of talents to every single person. There's so many talents to every single person.
I don't write my own raps. Ghost writers.
How much of what you do is integrated also into the character? Like, do you feel like it's comfortable to ad lib? Do you feel like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know if Rebel would actually be singing to us anytime soon, but
like, we were not going to be singing. Like, that's too much.
Right.
Which I'm glad. I'm happy that she's a poet. I'm happy that she's a poet. I don't write poetry. I love to perform it. So if somebody writes me a good piece, then I'll definitely perform it, you know. But no, she won't be singing at all, which I think is great. Yeah, I'll book something else and then I'll sing, and they'll be like, "That girl, wasn't that the girl on?" You know, I think that would be cool. But I think I'm from Northern California, so as far as the slang is concerned, very much I was very involved in that, like being like, nope, she wouldn't say that.
A glossary of
I would literally
terms.
send them emails of 50,
I didn't even know what
like,
guap was before I met her.
I'm like, this is Bay Area slang, Northern California slang. What I don't want is, because I'm from that part of the world, I can't go home and they be like, what was y'all talking about? Cause that's what they'll do. They'll be like, so yeah, I was watching the episode and she said
that wasn't it.
She said Bopsy instead of Bootsy. Like, what is that? You know. So yeah, I was like, nope. Like I mean, Robin knows too, because the writers were working so hard. Randy couldn't be on set a lot, and I'll be like, nope, Robin, nope, call Randy. No, that's not right. Like, you know, I even hit up my sister, who spends a lot of time in East Oakland. I wish I still had the video. I literally Marco Polo'd her, if you guys know what Marco Polo is. I was like, Natalie, I need the most current slang terms. And she sent me at least 30 minutes of video of her being like, all right, so this is what, you know, and it was hysterical. Like, it was hysterical.
Didn't that make the show? Some of it?
I think so, yeah, a few things. It's like, so you feel me. So that's what we say. Like, you feel me, you smell me. Like, you know, like, Rebel ain't that, like, grimy. So we just try to throw it in when we could. But I definitely had, you know, stuff in that area. And, yeah, ad-libbing. I mean, Randy's great with kind of going with, if I felt like something just was not organic to the character, I would be like, hey, Randy, what do you think about me saying this? I mean, the kick rocks. I was like, well, she said get to stepping at first. And I was like, can she say kick rocks? And he's like, yeah, just give me one with get to stepping and then give me one with kick rocks. And they chose the kick rocks cut, which I was happy about. So, yeah, I felt a part. And then by the time we got to episode 9 and 10 with Jeff, it also depends on the director that you're with as well. And so Jeff was really great about asking, like, he would ask my opinion about what I think about this scene, or, you know, the even little stuff like me walking up to the little kid and him throwing the football at me. That wasn't necessarily in the script. But when I got to set, I was like, hey, Jeff, what do you think about her walking up and the little boy throws a football? Like, that's a way of, like, connecting with the kid, and they'll feel safe with you if they feel like they can
right before they throw the brick into the house. Right. That makes sense. No, yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I think she should be like, hey, little man. Like, she would definitely know how to play football, like, you know. And he was like, oh, that's great, you know. And then there was another moment that I thought, I'm giving all, these are the things that I thought of. The pin moment. I don't know if you guys noticed at the end when it reveals that Mack is the bad guy and he opens the refrigerator, you see him put the pen away, the Sharpie away. And I was like, you should give Mack the Sharpie. Like, you think Texas wrote on her chest, but I was like, it would be way better and more of a stab in the heart if it was actually Mack that did that, because we saw her struggle a whole episode and a half with, you know, that violation or whatever. And so Jeff was like, that's brilliant. And I was like, yes, give me my credit.
Give me the credit right now. I love that. So what was important, this is for John and Randy, about making Rebel a veteran?
Because that's really untold story. There's so many sisters that have fought in these various wars, and they've never really had anybody tell those stories. I mean, I would have wanted to go further. I mean, if we had time, I would have wanted to do 2 episodes while they were both at war. And there was also a metaphor. Remember, I told you guys about for like the black man and woman in America, like they're at war together and they meet and her and TJ meet in solidarity while they're in a siege where they don't know if their lives are gonna if they're gonna live, and then they come back here and they can't function because they don't realize that they're still at war and they need to be together. You know what I mean? So it was like, that was what the conversations that we had in the writers' room and stuff. So that's why it came about. It was really important to do that. That was a good episode, actually.
I also think that like the universal theme of season 1 is like grief. And that's something, how we deal with grief. And that's something that you can see reflected in every character. I think Rebel is still dealing with the grief, losing her mom. And now losing her brother. I think we see her father struggle. And it's like that's something that we can all identify with, whether you're black, white, whatever you are. You can identify, because you're going to lose somebody, whether that's a loved one, whether that's physically losing them, or whether that's like losing them in a relationship, losing money. And how we deal with that, I think, is very important for us as well as the people around us.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, Rebel never has a chance to grieve, ever. Like, she loses her mom, but her dad's a drunk, so she has to kind of help him out and raise Malik. Then she loses Malik, but then she got to figure out what happened to Malik to get justice from him. And then her and TJ try to get together, and then it don't work out. And then she doesn't have time to deal with that either. And so hopefully when second season comes, we're able to see her grieve. We're able to see her go through the process of actually, healing herself. And then the other thing too is our people have not been, it's like we're not allowed to grieve either. Like, we see these things happen in the world and in the streets and in our community, and then we're told to get over it. We're told, oh, that's not really, like, that's not PTSD in the black community. Like, what? Like, that's not something that exists. It's like, no, you were slaves, but just get over it. Like, that's all right. That was like a long time ago. Next. Like, and people live that way on a continual basis, and it's not healthy. It just isn't.
What about the fact that Method Man, this was his first love scene, from what I found out. he killed it, right? I was like, you did that. So I don't know if the same is true for you, but it was. So even, and you can give your personal answer as well, but what do you suggest in terms of prepping for things like that? Maybe your first crying scene, your first arguing scene, your first love scene. Sometimes actors aren't sure what to bring to the table, and everybody can have their own perspective on that. What do you two look for in the actor?
Call your girlfriends and scream on the phone with them that you're going to have a love scene with Method Man. That's the first thing you do. Oh, my God, this is weird. That's what I did. This is weird. I was on my way to the chemistry read, and I was like, I called one of my friends. I was like, I'm about to do a chemistry read with Method Man. And I was like, I have to kiss him at the chemistry read. And she was like, okay. And I was like, it's Method Man. Like, and she was like, oh my God, yeah, it is. Ah! Sorry. I was like, what if he thinks I'm ugly? Like, what if he, or I stink, or like, what if he stinks? What if he smells like weed? Like, I mean, he smokes a lot. So I'm like, what if he stinks?
She did the first reading for when Meth came and read for her and everything, and she did. I videotaped you guys after when they did. Okay, that's good, Meth. Okay, that's cool, because we know each other from way back. And then she goes this like, I want to tell you, I had a crush, the biggest crush on you when I was like
14
years old. And he's like, huh?
But it was. He's like, damn, I feel old as hell. Thank you. But we have the same birthday. Me and him have the same birthday, so we're like this. But I think first of all, you just have to realize, like, it's not what it looks like on television. Like, there's nothing sexy about the sex scene at all. Like, so once you get past the initial just being nervous, I mean, he was nervous, I was nervous, we were both nervous. and you know,
nervous.
Yeah, he was sweating profusely. Like after we're done, I was like, "Girl, he was sweating. He was nervous.
I made him sweat. I'm dead.
It was so
I think
funny.
he had a crush on me too.
So, but yeah, you just have to, you know, we ran through on the pilot when he throws him against the wall or whatever and whatever.
Idea.
Yes, John is so.
You wanted to keep it sexy. You wanted to keep it sexy.
I was like,
It's
you're gonna throw her against the wall like this, and then you're gonna go up in her ear, and nibble in her ear, and you're gonna say, "At ease, soldier."
And he was so proud of himself for that line too.
I made that line up.
He was like, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's like,
It was
they used it.
John.
They used it in the advertising. They used it at that shot in the advertising over and over again.
Yeah, no,
It was a little dangerous too, if I recall correctly, because John had another thing where he picks her up and throws her.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I want to pick her up, throw her in the bed, pick her up. She pushes him away, and he's like, "Oh, okay, what's up? Okay." He grabs her, and he picks her up, and throws her in the bed, and then she just laughs. But it's a whole dance.
hard.
Like,
That bed was a
That's what I'm saying.
was
Like,
a wooden
and then he's
box.
like,
it's like
and then you're like, cut. All right, we're gonna go again. Pick her up, throw her, and cut. We're gonna go again. And I was like,
I didn't do it that many
How many times we
times.
gonna do this?
Like, the throw you did like 2 or 3
Yeah,
times. I was
yeah.
like, hey man,
It was
we don't
fun.
want to blow her back out.
But that was the point of the scene. The point of the scene was blowing her back out.
blow her
Shit,
whole
what you
back
talking
out.
about?
I hate y'all. But then John's like, you know, we're doing other stuff, and John is like, this is it's not sexy, just so you guys know. It really isn't. You don't even have time to be like, ooh, you know, you just don't. And John's like, all right. He's talking to you while you're doing other stuff. You're doing these fake moans,
this,
and
say
you're
this.
saying it. He's like, okay, say this. And he's like, okay, Danny, put your head back. Put your head back. And he's like on my, you know, kissing my back or whatever. And he's like, okay, pull her hair. And he pulls my hair. And he's like, okay, Danny, you know, turn your face. And I was like, okay. And he's like, open your eyes. And then he's like, Danny, open your eyes. I was like, they're open. And
You
you're
can tell
just
I
like-
experienced doing those kind of like sexy there. I mean, shoot, I think the last one I did was one in Baby Boy with Tyrese and Taraji. So you know that's sexy. So.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
But you know, I
Like,
was like,
yeah.
but
It was
this had
great.
to be like, you know, really intimate. These two people who have
Especially
been
live-
together for a long
right.
time, and they have a certain rhythm about them, and so
And for
that's what we're
those of
looking
you
for.
who are in relationships in your real life, because I'm
you talking
married,
about?
we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, me and my husband. So just preparing for a sex scene, you know, you just want to talk to your spouse or I think spouse. I don't have as much respect for boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. That's just me. I'm like, we're not married. You can't.
You're gonna watch
You
this.
can't really tell me like what to do at work. Sorry. But when you're married, there should actually be a conversation for real, like a real conversation. And so me and my husband, you know, we talked about what made him comfortable or uncomfortable, and what made me comfortable, and you know what I will and won't do. And we definitely don't see eye to eye on certain things because I am a free spirit, and he is like, I don't get to kiss people when I go to the barbershop. Like,
I need you to.
so it's kind of weird. Like, I don't get to go to work and kiss people for a living, you know. And I was like, that's true. So yeah, just communicate. Like, communication, you know, is the key. And he's happy every time I got paid. Every week I got paid. He was like, oh, what kissing scene? What sex scene? What? Oh,
Girl,
you know.
what? We good. Let's go to dinner. I love it.
But I think those are ways to prepare, you know, to prepare yourself. It's hard when things are rough at home and you got to go to work knowing that when you get home, things ain't going to be cool. So for me, it's like making sure home is good, and then, you know, and then go to work and be open with the people you work with and be like, look, my husband is a pastor. You know, this is how I see myself. This is how I want to present myself. And, you know, there's only so much I'm going to do. And they've been very respectful of me and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So.
Rene, did you want to say something?
I used to work on Power, right? So speaking
nervous
of sex
'cause of that.
scenes, speaking of sex scenes, so Danielle is absolutely correct. There is a conversation that happens between a showrunner and an actress to find out what she's comfortable with, because we want to make it appear real as possible although it's not. And I remember working on Power. My aunt was like, "They doing it for real," and I'm like, "No, they're not. Stop, they're not." So yeah.
Before that's just in case you were wondering, they're not. Okay, right. Right before we wrap up, I just want to lastly talk about content creating and being content creators as actors. And it's not just about being in front of the camera, behind the camera, and all around. If you each had a perspective on that or some advice on that in terms of, should actors be creating their own content? Should they be shooting every week? Should we be, or is it an auditioning process? Is it getting in front of the rooms? I mean, do you feel like there's something right now that actors should be doing to continue to push themselves? I'm sure all of you would have some advice on that.
I mean, I think it depends on your wherewithal. You should always be a part of a collective or many collectives of creative people who are writing, people who are directing. If you're an actor who aspires to tell stories in a different way, in a specific way, you should be writing and working with other creative people. I mean, I've just seen so many different years of people who have come here and have realized their dreams or haven't realized their dreams. But the people who I think that have realized their dreams are always very, very proactive, and they're always making very different alliances with different creative people who are also up on the come. Because if you got a small collective and you're a part of different collectives and you're acting and you're doing different things, you're working on different things together, somebody in your crew is gonna do it, and hopefully that those persons are genuine heart to pull other people along.
Yeah, I think it's really important for artists. I think the reason why it's important to create, if you or be a part of a collective, because it gives you a true identity outside of going to auditions and being told no all the time, because that's really what happens. You're told no way more than we're told yes.
You can experiment too.
Right. And so if you have something else that you're doing that your heart bleeds for or that you really love, then it makes you a little more confident when you go into a room and somebody tells you no to their project. It's their project, that's their dream. But if you have your own thing, then you can put, a lot into it. And I come from theater. I've done a lot of, of theater, and I created my own one woman show with a really good friend of mine. We've been friends for probably 15 years now, and we worked on it for a long time. And so what I will say is, I don't think you should be shooting things every week. I could be wrong. I think quality is better than quantity. So you should choose something that you really believe in, that is a passion, and you should make it the best that it can be, whether it's, a YouTube channel, whatever it might be, a web series, a theater piece or whatever. And that's what I've done, And so, Rebel is wrapping up. I don't know what's next. I'm auditioning and doing stuff like that, but I also have my own things going on. So I will be producing my play again. Like, it don't stop. It never stops. But if you get too caught up in Hollywood and booking jobs and things like that, that's where the downward spiral goes. And then your actual emotional and mental health begins to fall apart, because you're putting your hope in something that is not definite, because being actor, when you're a doctor, you can say, I'm going to school for this amount of time, and then I'm going to do a fellowship, and then I plan to work at this hospital. You're pretty much going to get that job, But when you make a decision to be an actor, like, it is a faith walk every single day of your life, and you cannot base what you're doing on outcomes, because you don't control them. I didn't control booking Rebel. All I controlled was preparing myself to go in the room to audition for Rebel. And so I prepared myself as much as I could. And then after I left the room and did my little tears in the parking lot, I was like, I'm going to hold on to this moment, because I probably will not book this part. This is literally what I said to my manager. I probably will not book this part. I have theater credits on that's it, pretty much, and a couple little TV spots I did. I know they probably want a name. I'm a 35-year-old woman. I'm pretty smart. I'm like, they probably are going to, gonna get a name. But I'm going to hold on to this moment, because is going to give me what I need to keep going to whatever the opportunity is that I will get one day in the future that won't be Rebel. And guess what? It ended up being Rebel. Who knew, you know? But you can't, thank you. You can't get stuck on outcomes. You got to do your work, do your life. Do your life. Get married if you want to. Have a kid if you want to.
Live your life. Do
Live
not put your life on hold for fucking
Don't do
Hollywood.
that. You will
Live
go
your life.
insane.
Love
You will
this.
go insane. Don't do it.
Don't
Live
do
your
that
life.
shit. I mean, Hollywood, like, don't get caught up. My whole thing is don't get caught up in Hollywood because Hollywood is not caught up in you yet. If it ain't caught up in you yet, then don't get caught up in Hollywood. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and there's so many different stories that can attest to that. Do you? You know what I mean?
Randy, do you have anything you want to add to this fabulosity?
And I can't say anything past what they said. Tell your story. Everybody's got a story to tell. Tell yours.
With that said, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.